building the kitchen.
In this vlog series, I am transforming an old 3-story house into an eco home while living in my van conversion.
So right now I'm wiring up the barn properly, so I've made this box in the corner which is basically coming from the house, so it's a protected cable coming to its own sort of controller unit, and then basically from this I'm going to run cables out to the shed where I'm going to move my workshop because it's more waterproof, and then also to power all the barn appliances and the dirt bag kitchen. So it'd be great to get that all done. That's the last of the long extension leads being dragged around the property. Spider cable, and I don't want to cut the cable until I know I've got the full length. I think I've got enough to do it with this 50 meters, but there's always like more distance than you imagine. So just going to play it conservative. Do one line, then do the next line, and if I've got enough, a separate lighting ring, because I want to light up the climbing wall with floodlights. Should be pretty ace. So now I'm just wiring in a box which I can take out some floodlights which will go off this beam into the climbing wall. Got 2 lines, one will go all the way through to the workshop. I can basically start wiring that up. Maybe today have floodlights and proper power in the shed and barn and stuff with real plug sockets. A new unprecedented level of barn's electrical safety. What's happening with this place?
We are building the kitchen. That's very exciting.
I got the kitchen from Ikea, which was an ordering nightmare, but at least it's here now. Now it's just a matter of basically putting together all the units. I've got some countertop material coming from a different place, from wood, and I can just make it myself. And basically here, the way it kind of works is you put this railing against your back wall, you kind of hook your unit into it and it sort of hangs, and then you adjust the legs to kind of make it all work, screw the cupboards together. I've got like just one kind of major worry about this at the moment, and that is how much space I need for my fridge to open, like with the hinge. We've got, I think, 3.5 centimeters. Ikea recommends 5. So yeah, it could be a little bit dodgy. I need to get some like little bits, plumbing for the dishwasher, and probably wire a plug in, stuff like that, little bits to kind of as we go. But I think if we get the units in place, but maybe not all fixed in, then we can basically do all these little pieces, all the bits that have to be done before it's all fixed in and covered up the holes and everything like that. So just a matter of getting that done. So now what I'm doing is putting in the top rail. I'm trying to use a minimum sort of gap that I can get away with and still put the cupboards on. I've slightly just reshuffled the kitchen because when I built the wall I was thinking 60, 60, 60, 60, and when I designed the kitchen using the Ikea thing, then it kind of didn't quite work out. We ended up adding a 20 centimeter unit because we could. So I put that here instead of that end, and it all aligns again. Before it was a little bit off. So yeah, now basically it's kind of working quite well. Got to put in the top rail, start hooking on these other cupboards, and then we could probably do the doors and things for the cupboards we've done. There's a few like loose ends really. One is I've got the power which is going to the under lights. I don't know how that works. I think there's probably some kind of transformer. There's a load of junk I need to do for that, so I need to figure that out and then maybe adapt where the cable comes out. I've got some stuff here I need to kind of wire up to do with the underfloor heating and the storage heater, which goes down to the solar box, but that will all be basically self-contained. But other than that, it's working quite well, just kind of quite boring to put stuff together. Luckily Day is helping me. So currently carrying on with the kitchen. Had to like chisel away a bit of the beam because all these are different heights and I'm trying to keep it as high as possible. Now basically going to try and put in, check it fits, the so it's going to be the cupboard, the extractor. I can basically put them in with this shelf and like slide them along into it because it's hard to get it in. Put it in over here, slide it in, collapse this up a bit. I have to work out this final position in a minute just by making sure it's like directly over the layer below, and then I can kind of screw them together and that pretty much fix them. And then fiddle that, put in the unit, this is the extractor unit, put the other cupboard on, and we're getting kind of there. Then I need to build the fridge unit for this far side. It's kind of annoying. They didn't give me all the parts for the thing, so I had to kind of like figure some bits out myself. Yeah. So I guess today is day one of training. Building a house pretty hardcore for about a year. It's pretty much done. Today's a rainy day. I was going to build some steps today down from the barn to the bottom floor, but it's raining, so that stopped play. And in general, I just feel motivated to train. So what I want to do now is start building a bit of an endurance base. Obviously, I've barely climbed for a year and a half, which is a really long time considering I was climbing almost, full time for 5 years before that. So now it's just a basis of like, okay, I'm super unfit. I've got a few twinges, a few injuries, but I want to just build some base endurance. This board here, it's like 49 degrees overhang. It's pretty steep, but it's got like a jug circuit around it. So I'm gonna try and climb that jug circuit and just do it until I get pretty pumped and then rest a bit, and then just do that a bunch of times. And that'll simulate climbing pumpy routes, getting really pumped, and then resting out. The circuit is probably, if you go around twice, it's probably similar to climbing like the Cruxy segment on a kind of 7B, just because it's so steep. And I'm gonna try and climb in like a slow pace, because obviously if you learn the circuit, you can get boom, 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 you can be really fast. But I wanna kind of keep it at a pace which kind of matches like likely speed of climbing, which isn't insanely fast. And just try and build up a bit of endurance. I'll probably do a little bit of hangboarding afterwards. I've got to be pretty careful because after all that time off, I mean building, I'm using my hands a lot, but I'm not crimping very much. And when I have been crimping, I've had a couple of days on rock and crimp seem to kind of make my fingers feel a bit funny, a little bit painful. So I want to ease into that and just maybe do a bunch of like no more than body weight hangs on the hangboard rail and just kind of warm my fingers up into being used for climbing again. So let's do it. So a little warm up, 2 goes round quite slowly, feel a little bit pumped, so just gonna rest and then just basically start doing that again, maybe go for 3 times round and just start to get really pumped, get some of that endurance back. Climbing when you've got loads of endurance is just such a joy because you can recover, time to think. Without endurance, such an ass kicking. So now I'm going to do some hangs. Grab my chalk bag. It might seem a little bit pathetic, but I'm just going to do a load of probably like 8 to 10 second hangs, just body weight on this lattice rung. Well, it needs a bit of chalk. It's a bit greasy today, being outside. And all I want to do is just warm the fingers into some kind of like open hand and half crimps. Definitely don't want to start kind of loading the weight up or taking weight off with the kind of stick climbing scale thing. But we'll start off just hanging. Probably all my fingers need right now. plan is to sort of train 2 or 3 days a week and then maybe climb outside 2 or 3 days a week. And the kind of idea of that is when you train, it's actually quite efficient, quite a short period of time, and when you go outside for a whole day, it's like a day off anything else. And I've got a lot of projects on I work on now the house is done, and it's just kind of like a question of balance. Before I was just climbing full time, 2 days on, 1 day off, really fun, but quite hard to do other projects or other things you want to do. And now I've got the infrastructure, I can train efficiently, endurance, power, bouldering, and go outside on the days I want to kind of try some projects or just do lots of volume, lots of on-siting. While I was doing the house, a lot of people are like, are you climbing much while you're doing the house? And I climb, like, I try to sort of do a bit in between, but I was working like 6 days on, 1 day off, and then a day off. If you're doing physical things like climbing, just puts you in a hole. And I realized very quickly that if I wanted to do the house super fast, like whole thing done in a year, including like setting up all the barn and all the rest of the property and the other things I can do here, then pretty much I'm not going to go climbing. And if I did try and do both, so maybe I climbed as well as did the house, and the house would take 3 years and I have to think about it for 3 years, live in the van on the land in a pile of dust for 3 years. So really I just basically thought, well, I'll put down climbing, forget about it, and just focus on the house. So while I was doing the house, there was no balance. All I did was work. And obviously in the evenings and rest days, I'm either ordering things or I'm doing other work for YouTube or the other projects I was doing at the time. So it's great to start to see balance back in the life. Obviously I get a house out of that sacrifice. It's a beautiful house, so it's like totally worth it. But now I've just got to slowly get back in, get some hangs going. And yeah, it's just one of those things where you just got to choose sometimes whether you want to get something done or not. And I decided to get it done, which was definitely the best option. These hangs are feeling quite hard actually, even just like 10 seconds on an edge, which is quite a big edge. Oh, yeah, I'm weak. That's not surprising. It's always a bit of an ego kick in if you take time off and then you start climbing again, because obviously the things that you would have warmed up on, casually cruised, just get a very mild pump. Now they're kind of your projects. It might get you second go, So now I'm just in a total feeling of acceptance. I know I'm weak, such a long period of time off. I'm just gonna have to kind of start at the bottom and work the way up. Seems to be my kind of like off the couch grade is about 7A. So yeah, starting at 7A and just see where I can go. So today our aim is to build some really quite big stairs.